And the last week we had devastating news where in Beirut there was a major explosion where it killed more than 220 people, where more than 110 people are missing, and where more than 6,000 fatal injuries, and more than 15 billion in damages. And the explosion was so big that it was heard in 250 kilometers away in Cyprus, in another country. And this is the worst thing which can happen to Beirut, because before this explosion, Lebanon was in a financial uncertainty.
And even like before COVID-19 took place, they were already at a brink of economic collapse. No wonder we had like the October 2019 protests against a sectarian government that is putting the country into worse conditions because of corruption and mismanagement between all the politicians and every actually community that actually parties that are representing these sects, as we have 18 sects in Lebanon. So let's get into the video. The current issues in Lebanon trace back to the civil war that happened between 1975 to 1990.
So the civil war was between two different religious groups. So it was between the Christians and the Muslims. And this caused major deaths where more than 200,000 people died. And from this, the Taifi agreement was formed. So the Taifi agreement was essentially between three different sects in Lebanon, between the Christians, the Sunnis and the Shias. The Taifi agreement was major because this is the first time in Lebanon's history that the three different sects were forming a parliamentary system. But this was too good to be true because the pioneer of the Taifi agreement, Rafik Hariri, in February 2005 got assassinated, and many people thought that Hezbollah were behind this. And this caused two different alliances. So the March 8 alliances, which was a more Shia Hezbollah backed, and then the March 14th, which was a more Sunni Saudi Arabia backed government. And this caused a major divide where the parliamentary system couldn't form any laws. And the proxy war in Syria has caused major problems because the Sunni people are with the Free Syrian Army, whereas the Shia people are with the Assad regime. And this has caused problem in Lebanon as well, because in March 2017, the Prime Minister had to resign and said the country was going down in flames. So the Lebanese government didn't allow Saud Rafiri to resign because he didn't resign in Lebanon, he resigned in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And many people thought that MBS and the king was behind this. And this caused major protests in Lebanon. And many people wanted Saud Rafiri to come back to his job. And in latter 2017, that's what exactly he did. He came back to Lebanon to carry on his prime minister role.
But even after this, the issue still exists in Lebanon because of the mismanagement and corruption of the sectarian government. In terms of corruption, you have the sectarian government stealing billions of dollars from these banks. And to what? To support their unsustainable spending. But to make matters worse, you have the Lebanese lira losing 80% of its value. And that's causing inflation to like basic needs. For example, like red meat costing from $9 to $43, which is insane. The fact that this is happening in 2020 is crazy. And more than half the population is relying on food banks. Like food banks, are you serious? And like, so also with the GDP of Lebanon is partly made up of remittances. So approximately 12.5% of the GDP is made up from remittances. So a sum of payment from Lebanese abroad, but the Lebanese people can't even get access to that because there's not enough US dollars in the banks. So not just remittances, but even their own savings. They could lose all their savings. So all their hard work is going down the drain because of corruption, which is insane. And because the bank doesn't have enough of the US dollars, they can't even subsidize bread, medicine, fuel. And if they're not able to do this, they can go back into mass poverty. And this happened back in like 1915 to 1918, where they had famine there, and they lost more than half of the population. I can't believe I'm relating a problem in 2020 back to 1915, 1918. We're not supposed to be having these issues here. With the sectarian government, is made up of seats that support all 18 different sects. So, but there's an issue with that, where each politician from each of the sect, they only care about their own sect, but not the country as a whole. So we see that in 2016, where there was a garbage crisis. They didn't know where to put all this rubbish, right? And it was causing so much havoc on the streets, and it just looked dirty. there were reforms to be made. There were ideas being passed around in parliament. But the thing is, because of the different sects and different ideas and having that prejudiced idea of that sect and this sect, it's like they couldn't come into one agreement to how to solve the garbage crisis, which just got worse and worse. And this happens for each and every issue that's been going on in Lebanon. They just can't bring about a proper reform to solve that issue. However, there was a parliament formed at the beginning of January 2020. They did form that parliament, but still nothing has changed, because when COVID-19 came around, there was a little to none of a response. A lot of nurses got laid off, and then you have 20 patients per nurse. Like, how are you supposed to deal with it? How are you supposed to deal with that in a hospital? Like, you have 20 patients per nurse. More people are just going to die during COVID, and then it's just crazy. Like, nothing has changed. And even right now we have 48% of the Lebanese people living under the poverty line, and it's only going to get worse. It's estimated to get up to 60% of the population by the end of 2020. So even having this full government, nothing is changed. All the Lebanese people want is to have a government that supports the country as a whole and not just by a sect. We don't care. Look, the Lebanese people don't care about the civil war anymore. They don't give a fuck anymore, right? They don't give two fucks about what happened. They don't care about that person's from a different sect. I don't want to associate with that person. No, we just want equality, and we just want to represent everyone as a whole and the country as a whole to make the country better. And that's what all the Lebanese people want. They just want to make the country better. Thanks for watching, guys. All we want to see is a reform in Lebanon, because a middle class doesn't even exist anymore, because we have the rich that are just getting richer, the middle class becoming the poor, and the poor just becoming destitute.
So we'll link to charity in the description. Any money you can donate will go straight to helping people in Lebanon. We've got more videos coming out this week. Please like and subscribe, and see you later.